Yo, what's up guys? I have this starter base that I've been using all the time off stream, off camera, and I thought I would finally show it to you guys because I've been seeing it around and it's a pretty good base design. It's a base design that you would use if you're trying to farm for main and you're not able to farm for main in like one day. So like you gotta go to bed, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to work, whatever. But you still want a pretty strong, super cheap base that's like 23 satchel minimum. This is the base that you need. It's perfect for farming for main and surviving the first couple days of wipe for sure. Absolutely not going to get raided the first couple days of wipe with this base unless you build right next to a clan. So you're just going to build your basic 2x1 starter base, but the airlock is going to be backwards because we're going to be building a triangle off of the front of it. And I'm not going to go too in depth on how to do this. I've made a couple videos in the past on it, or you can go check out Evil Worst, which is where I learned how to set up a 2x1 base like this a long time ago. He's a pretty cool dude if you want to go check him out. But yeah, make sure that you get this triangle in here. Go destroy your twig on the outside. I got B grade enabled, that's why it's stone, in case you are unaware of that. I'm using B grade on my private server hosted by gameservers.com. I think I just might start using an affiliate link in the description that you guys can use if you want your own server because you're asking for it so much. But yeah, make sure that you upgrade that door frame to sheet metal so that it doesn't poke out on the outside. And then over here, we're going to put our furnaces so we can start smelting metal fragments to upgrade this base later on and to upgrade or to smelt for your main base. Make sure there's double door points outwards and then place the third furnace down. And then you can fit all of the rest of the stuff on the inside of the loot room. Put your bag over here, a little fireplace if you want it over here. And then you're good to go. You got your food, you got your furnaces. As a solo player, you're going to be building near outposts most of the time or bandit camps, so you can just run over there, use a recycler if you need to. Use the research table. This box doesn't fit like that, unfortunately, unless you have a garage door, you can make it poke out. Otherwise, you're going to have to place it like that. You can still access all the boxes, it's not too difficult. Saw the upkeep there for a second, and I'll show you at the end of the video as well. Yeah, then you just hop on out of here. That's why we put the door that way. And you could put some small boxes in here too. It's kind of weird to put them in here, but if you just jump right here, you're able to spam click and get that one in there. And don't put that box from that angle, put it from this angle. And then you can also fit one more in there if you hop inside. And this should be enough loot space for you. But if you're a duo player, I'll show you some stuff later on for how you could expand this. If you're a strong PvP player and you got too many gear sets, that's not going to be enough, especially when farming for main. I'll show you how you can expand it to a shooting floor at this point later on, instead of doing what I'm about to show you now, which is what you'll be doing most of the time unless you're a strong PvP player. If you're a heli pilot, you like flying helis, I'll also show you a little extension that you could do instead of the PvP floor. But yeah, at this point you're just going to add these triangles, put your proper airlock down, which this door points outwards. And then over on the other side over here is where you place your furnaces. With the new door update, you'll have to put your door down first. You could use a double door if you want to. I suggest using a double door if you're going to add a second floor, so you can switch it to a garage door if needed. If you're going to keep this base, it just makes it nicer to have a garage door there, especially if people are going to come down from the top of your base, because it will be cheaper coming from the top of your base if you're expanding like that. For heli pilots, your base is going to be weak. And then you place those furnaces down after you get the door down. So yeah, at this point, you should have metal fragments smelted, or metal fragments to begin with. If you had a really good start, you could just build straight into metal fragments right here. And you're just fully upgrading the 2x1 and then the airlock triangle besides the door frame to sheet metal. So that's all you need to upgrade to sheet metal, because this is 8 satchels to get into here, and if they blow through here, it's a waste of 2 satchels. So this is all you need to upgrade to sheet metal unless you're going to expand further. And don't forget to upgrade the inner wall to sheet metal as well. So here's the build cost for this portion of the base. It's relatively cheap. I mean, honestly, is super cheap for how strong it is. And for the amount of furnaces that you can fit in it, which is the main goal of this base, is to fit a ton of furnaces in it so you can smelt a lot of metal fragments, so you can build straight into metal on your main base, or straight into high quality as well, so that you're not wasting all these materials, especially on vanilla servers. you're going to be wasting a lot of materials if you don't build straight into the to the quality that it's going to be at in the end. So if you're going to have a high quality loot room, just build a starter base like this and go straight into the high quality loot room, so you're not wasting sheet metal or stone. And this type of base is going to protect your furnaces for the first few days of wipe, maybe even the first week if you build in the right location without even being touched. And you could even throw a wooden door on the front of it if you're going to be a solo player, because that throws a lot of people off and they come very unprepared. They expect to flame rage you, or they just will ignore you completely because you're a solo player. If you do need some extra loot space, let's say you started killing a bunch of people, you don't have enough loot space, you're trying to build a pretty large base, you're filling up all your boxes with resources, this is a super cheap way to add another loot room. And I like to build it like this, so if someone's door camping me right here, I can run out my door and come peek over here real quick, use a med, bandage up, eat some food, and then come back and try to fight them. But you know what I mean? To each their own. I like to do it like this, to just add a simple little loot room, extra like 5-6 boxes over there. It's usually all I'm gonna need before I build into main, where my main loot rooms are gonna be that are quite large. And if you are expanding onto a second floor, this is where you would do so at. Use the furnace to jump up and put a double door frame down instead. Make sure you place it inward so that you can't see it from the outside, so people don't know where you're navigating within your base if they're door camping you. And then, yeah, you could use this as a heli floor. You could use this as a PvP floor. Put extra loot room up here if you're a PvPer and you're doing well, you have too many gear sets, too much stuff. You could turn this into a dual loot room. Whatever you would like to do up here, it's up to you, but I would put the entrance in here and be prepared to do so if necessary. Just put like a couple walls up there with a door frame depending on what you're gonna do. And that way you don't have to expand off to the side like that. And this is also another option if you're not able to expand off to the side like that. You can just build straight up. Just keep in mind that I would prefer you wall it off all the way, but if you're a heli pilot and you're trying to store a minicopter up here, I would do so like this. And it's going to make your base a little weaker, but if you build it correctly, you could put some garage doors in there. But I'm not like a heli pilot main. I don't store helicopters all the time. I don't know how to properly store them within like a very small space without blowing them up with the garage doors. But if you know how to do all that, then you're good to go. You can fit this beast in there. It's got enough room. And I'm showing you a little example of how hard it is to fly in here and why I would not do this in general. I would build another base, but I know a lot of people would like to do this, especially if you're like a duo or a trio starting out of this and you want to put a helicopter in here. You're going to need to expand off of the front for a little landing pad, like 2 triangles off to the side. Because it's just gonna be too difficult to put it in there, man, unless you're like a super good pilot. And if you do this, people are gonna know that there's a helicopter in your base, and if there's not a lot of helicopters anywhere, man, they're gonna raid you for this helicopter. So you gotta watch out, because if you're not super good at flying, you're gonna have to put something down like that. And anyway, people are probably gonna like see you flying in and stuff, so I just won't recommend doing this, but it is a viable option. It is big enough to store a minicopter in there, so you could do so if you really wanted to. But you're gonna make yourself a bigger target to get raided, and this is going to be a weak spot on your base. It's gonna cut the cost in half, so I just wouldn't do that at all. Just turn that into a loot room if you're going to need some extra space up there. And you can fit another furnace right here. If you have a double door, you can like really squeeze it in there, but you're gonna have to jump up over top of it. So if you're desperate for some furnaces on the inside of here, you could fit one more over there, and you could just take the doors off on the inner airlock and fit 3 in there if you're just gonna AFK. Yeah, I usually just build this loot room right here if I need more space, but I usually don't have to get to this point because I'll just start building main and keep upkeep in it and leave it empty, and just refill this base back up and then finish my main base. Usually within 2 filler uppers of this base, I'll be able to build my main base no matter how big it is, because I've got you know, a ton of box space in here. And especially with this loot room, it'll be enough to build quite a large base. So if you're a duo or a trio, just maybe build straight into this, and then you'll have enough for your base, enough space for your base to build. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. These are just a couple options that I show you, because if you add this extension onto the base, it makes it strong enough to compare to the sheet metal walls. If you don't have this extra one door right here, it's going to be a little weaker than if people were to wall raid you or ceiling raid you or foundation raid you. So I would recommend building this loot room instead of one on the roof if you're able to in the area that you built. That way it'll be evenly distributed all the way around it for the raid cost. But yeah, this new update is also kind of stupid, so make sure when you're putting your boxes down, just a friendly reminder that you put the door down first, just so you don't have to pick your boxes up and damage them. And you can always place a box like this, do your fancy little loot rooms. However you would like to go about your loot room is up to you. But yeah, that's pretty much the entirety of this base design. I'll give you a little fly around real quick and show you what the build cost for this version of the base is, which is my favorite version of the base, putting this little 2x1 off the side of the 2x1 with the triangle in the middle. Kind of throws people off. They don't really know where to go into. Obviously it's sheet metal over there on the side, but they're not going to want to go through the sheet metal, and you know, if they go through the center of it, it's going to be really expensive either way. So this is a very strong, very cheap, very easy to build. Put it up 5-6 hours, you're good to go. You can start it off as a 2x1, expand into it. It's just overall very easy to build, very simple to do, very efficient, and has a lot of furnace space most of all, which is what I like about this base, because I'm a professional farmer, man. You know what I mean? Here's the build cost once more for the triangle 2x1, and the upkeep for that as well is super cheap, really easy. Just a couple nodes, you're good for a couple days. And before the video ends, I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a vanilla solo survival series. If you guys would like to see me do anything specific within the series, or if you would like to see me do some type of build in the middle of the series, it's going to be taking up a lot of the channel's time in the next upcoming weeks. I'm going to try to do a huge series, and I'm going to cut out some boring parts, unlike what I did last time. You guys wanted to see a fully uncut solo series, and on the comments in that video you guys said maybe cut some boring parts out, so I'll try that again, cut some boring parts out, do it on vanilla this time, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I'll try to do some crazy shit once we get a little further into the wipe, but I'm gonna start recording it tomorrow and then hopefully uploading it the same day. It just depends on how it all goes. But that's all I got for you guys today. Catch you next time.